A new TV drama by Jimmy McGovern is always big news, and his latest, Accused, is no exception. It's filmed in and around Manchester, and JC Normand has been behind the scenes to meet Jimmy and the team responsible.
Take one.
Ready? And action.
Grandad!
Hello, baby.
Accused tells the stories behind a succession of court cases. As each episode unravels, we learn how the accused person came to be there. Are they innocent or guilty? And will the jury make the right judgment? Tonight's episode stars Salford actor Christopher Eccleston.
So what can we expect from this episode?
From this episode, my character Willie Houlihan is an ordinary working fella, plumber. He's trying to get the money together for his daughter's wedding, and things go wrong. A cheque bounces, and he has an opportunity, temptation, and he takes it, and he spirals then off into an issue of conscience, and which lands him in the dock.
Ladies and gentlemen, the father of the bride.
So do you think we're going to expect a big emotional roller coaster?
Yeah, with some laughs as well. You know, that's what's clever about Jimmy. You know, he'll leaven it with humour, because people, you have to sweeten the pill a bit.
Seen as successor to The Street, it's similar, uncompromising writing from Jimmy McGovern.
We start off with the accused in a holding cell, and nearly every episode he gets told the jury's coming back, so he's just about to get the verdict. So he begins the long walk up along the floor, up the stairs into the courtroom. And basically in the time it takes him to walk up to the courtroom and sit and wait and for the jury to come back, we tell the story of the crime.
I'm Willie Houlihan.
I've always argued that if you go into Walton Prison, you know, for half of them at least, you could say, there but for the grace of God go I, you know. It's a very fine line between being out of prison and in prison.
Accused has been shot in and around Manchester. The man in charge of finding the locations is Kevin Jackson.
Do you find that the North West is full of amazing venues for these kind of dramas?
Well, I think I've always said we're very lucky in the North West. You've got two fantastic cities, Liverpool and Manchester, 30 odd miles apart from each other, and between the two of them I think the wealth of locations we've got, it's got a bit of everything, and it makes filming shows like this so easy. Travel time between locations is very quick and easy, and there's some great people and great places to film here.
Is it quite unusual and quite nice for an actor to be playing a role pretty much on their doorstep?
Well, it's always nice to be able to go home at the end of filming. I've been fortunate. I've worked in Manchester and Liverpool quite a few times over the 21 years of my career, but it's always nice to work at home, yeah.
As well as bringing work to the region, Jimmy is keen to develop local talent with producer Sita Williams. She also worked with Jimmy on The Street.
Sita, what is it about the North West that produces such a wealth of talent?
Well, I think maybe the people in the North West are natural storytellers. Jimmy certainly is, and there's a lot of writers who live up here, like Russell Davies, Paul Abbott, Jan McVeary. There are lots of women writing for Coronation Street, and I think there's a sense of we have stories to tell and we tell them truthfully.
Obviously we're talking about having talent in the North and then working with Christopher Eccleston.
Jimmy didn't think of Christopher originally for Willie, because I think in a sense, and Christopher won't mind me saying this, Jimmy still thinks of him as a very young man. He's a very nice, more mature, good-looking man now, but old enough to play Willie, so we're delighted he's doing it.
Do you have people in mind when you write?
No, I haven't got them in mind, but I know who can act. I like to think I know who can act. I'm no good at casting, and the thing about Chris is, indubitably, he can act. So obviously, you'll try to write a really good script, get a good director, a great director, then you'll get good actors, you know, and then you've got half a chance it'll end up good.
Laura?
Upstairs at the Crown are doing me,
Never mind
Dad.
the Crown, what about here?
You're certainly one of Jimmy and Sita's favourites. I mean, Sita was talking about how nice it is.
I'm just cheap.
Cheap? I don't think so. No, they've talked about how nice
How
it's been.
expensive I am, yeah.
Well, you can tell us about that later, maybe. But they were saying it's really nice because they've seen you like really grow over the years into a very handsome, mature man, with Sita's words.
Right. So what did you say I was at the beginning?
We'll tell you about that later off camera. But I mean, that must be quite unusual in itself because nobody else get that. Do
No, I've worked with Jimmy. This is the 6th thing I've done for Jimmy. Yeah, 5 televisions and a feature film, and he's been the spine of my career, yeah. Is the most important writer in my career, and I think the best writer that British television's ever seen.
It might be a typical rainy day in the northwest for the filming of Willie's story, but in Accused, not every location is what it seems.
Well, Kevin, you might have found the perfect location, but have you seen the weather? I mean, it's not LA, is it?
That's certainly the one thing that we haven't got control of, is the weather. It would have been nice to have a nice sunny day for a wedding, but unfortunately, typical British summer. Sometimes, though, you just got to take it as it is. The weather possibly isn't the most important thing in this scene. We've just finished filming in Bolton, a quarry in Bolton, for the last 8 days that we dressed as Afghanistan.
Return fire! Return fire!
As you can imagine, we needed searing heat, we needed hot sunshine, and fortunately for 8 days solid, we had all that. So I'll gladly trade a bit of rain today on the wedding day to have the 8 days in Afghanistan of sunshine.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really was. It was an incredible shooting.
This man doesn't belong here. This man will get you killed. Have nothing to do with him.
The Soldier Story stars Mackenzie Crook, best known from The Office and Pirates of the Caribbean. He plays Buckley, a soldier's soldier, a man you need on your side if you're going to survive.
British soldiers are not taxi drivers. You don't endanger their lives because you fancy a lift home.
And it's scripts like these that attract top actors to work for Jimmy.
It's always me as a starting off point, you know. It's every person I write about is me, you know, and that's an easy thing to say if you're writing about a person who's quite heroic or brave or nice, you know. But if he's not, you know, if he's a real villain or he's a nasty piece of work, you know, that's very difficult. That's very, very difficult.
But it's not just his storytelling that makes Jimmy McGovern's work so compelling and relevant for today.
What do you think it is actually about him then that you know, makes him so good?
Truth. He listens to the way people speak, and he can replicate that, and he listens to the things that are important in people's lives, in ordinary people's lives, which is specifically what The Accused is about and what The Street was about. It's ordinary stories about ordinary people.
How's it been working with Jimmy? What does he bring to the party?
He brings everything to the party. Without a Jimmy McGovern script, we wouldn't have it. I'm dispensable. Everybody's dispensable. The only person who isn't dispensable is Jimmy McGovern.
And don't forget, you can see Christopher Eccleston in The Accused tonight at 9 on BBC One.